Well, joining me is East MHK Chris Robertshaw, and we're talking about the gas. You certainly, in Tynwald this week, were of an opinion that this was a bad deal, and you were really trying your hardest to make other people come along with you. You got some support there, but not enough. The deal is done. Over to you, because why is it a bad deal?
Well, I'm grateful to you for giving me this chance to explain my position, which was, as you say, a pretty robust one. But I am totally in favour of the proposals addressing the reductions for the domestic sector. That's not the issue here. The issue here is that it is only the domestic sector that is being protected in the future, not the 695 commercial users, i.e. anybody over 12,000 kilowatt hours per year.
Because the domestic people are all going to benefit. We've all had a letter from Manx Gas saying congratulations, you've won the lottery. There's a refund coming your way, which is unusual in these days.
Well, that's good.
So that's most people, is it, in the Isle of Man, who will benefit?
Oh, it's all consumers, other than, and this is where we start to get interesting, other than the commercial sector. That's 695 users. That's everything from a reasonably small shop to offices, to care homes, restaurants, hotels.
But the larger users at the same time, are they?
Well, 12,000 kilowatt hours is not particularly large. So it goes down to small, SMEs. All of those now will not be protected. But this is the nub of my argument, that the government, which is also a significant user, they have 135 accounts with Manx Gas.
Manx government have 135.
Yeah, but their price is really low, and that's what came out of my investigations the previous weekend.
What, you found out what they pay?
Yeah, they go right down to 2.1 pence per kilowatt hour. Now,
is that less than what they buy?
It's pretty well even Stevens, I guess. So that means, and there's something really wrong here, Paul. Government is purchasing a significant proportion of its gas at below operational costs for Manx Gas, and that's what I called a scandal. Because what's happening is, if you rightly protect the domestic sector, which has now happened, great. If you know that the government are contracted and therefore tied in and safe, what's actually happening is the cost is going to be migrated. Additional profits are going to be migrated towards the 695 commercial users, and the government seem completely disinterested in that, and they just point at the domestic sector and say, but look what we're doing there. Besides
yourself, has many people been, and obviously Mr. Murphy, but how many people have been jumping up and down about this sort of deal?
Mr. Murphy was quite rightly protecting the domestic sector, and well done him. Barry's done incredibly well, and he was mentioned in Tynwald. But the problem is that it was all sort of sneaked through. The commercial sector knew nothing about it. And when I raised it with Department for Enterprise, they said, well, nobody's said anything. And I said, well, is it surprising that they've said nothing? Because you haven't said anything to them. I'm getting slightly tired of the Department for Enterprise's position. Every day you hear Department for Enterprise using taxpayers' money to advertise on the radio, on Manx Radio, how wonderful they are, and yet when push comes to shove and they've got a duty to stand up for the commercial sector, they do absolutely nothing. It's ironic. They're using taxpayers' money to advertise themselves, promote themselves as to how good they are, back to the very same people. It's ironic.
Really. And
Mr.
Skelly, being head of Enterprise, did he vote to protect, or did he go with the Comyn angle?
No, he went with Comyn, and he said he defended the deal, and ignored the commercial sector.
Do we actually know what's going to happen yet? I mean, is this supposition that they'll be squeezed, the commercial sector, or do you know it's going to happen?
Well,
they haven't put any price rises through yet, have they?
No,
I mean, you're just imagining they've got to balance their books.
Not imagining anything. Just see where this is going to go. Quite rightly, the domestic sector has now been protected. The government has got these ridiculously low prices, far lower than the domestic prices, I might add. That's contracted. So when Manx Gas look for increases, where are they going to go? The proof of the pudding really is in the eating here, because it was very clear that Manx Gas would not go forward with the domestic price reductions unless they knew they were free to pass those costs on to the commercial sector. In other words, if Tynwald had said, no, we've got to be fair with the commercial sector as well, Manx Gas would have said, this is my interpretation, well, we're not going to go ahead with this. So really, and this is what I called a scandal, government with its ridiculously low prices is complicit with Manx Gas in, as it were, impacting the commercial sector. That's what I'm so cross about.
The horse has left the stable. I mean, we're all too late talking about this now. The deal's been done. Shouldn't this all been really much more, weeks and weeks ago, months ago maybe, to raise this?
Once I became aware of it, which was only very, very recently, I did my best as an individual. I engaged with the Department of Enterprise, wasted my time. It was clear that the whole modus operandi was to explain to everybody how good it is for the domestic sector, and hope that members would say, oh, well, that's enough, let the commercial sector look after itself. But there are lots and lots of small users here who are going to find down the road that this is difficult.
But if they put the price up for the commercial sector, the Isle of Man government will be in that. So, I mean, they're
no,
leaving
they're
it cheap.
not. No.
They'll be protected, will they?
They have already protected themselves separately. That's the point I'm trying to make. And when you get to a price as low as 2.1 pence per kilowatt hour, currently just to show you the difference, the domestic market is paying 7.5 pence per kilowatt hour. So the government are paying less than a third of the price that the domestic householders are paying. There's something fundamentally wrong. I've actually said, and I think you might have heard me at the time, say that as chair of the Economic Policy Review Committee, with a duty to have real interest in the commercial sector, we need to look at this. We can't be put in a situation where our prices start rising and government sitting pretty with these less than cost prices. How on earth did that happen? Why did it happen?
Well, exactly.
Well, I'm going to try and find out.
Oh, are you?
Oh, gosh, yes. Through the committee, yes.
Okay, good luck. But as I say, it's a voluntary agreement, so it can be altered in the future. I mean, not in this Quell administration, clearly, but the next administration could go back and revisit this and make it compulsory, have some sort of statutory...
Make what compulsory?
Result. Well, go back and revisit the prices, I suppose, because it's a voluntary code, right? I mean, this is just a voluntary agreement.
Yes, but it's important not to disrupt what the domestic consumers have got now.
Yeah.
I mean,
that'd be a hard one to sell, wouldn't it, to your constituents? I mean, it won't be you.
Well, one wouldn't want
a price rise going.
No, one wouldn't want to try. I mean, let me repeat again. I was never against the price ceilings that have been placed on the domestic market. I think it's great. All I was simply doing was saying to government, are you being fair here to the commercial sector? And actually look at your prices. You know you're protected. You're just selling the commercial sector, the 690, 700 of us, down the river.
Were you surprised it went through then? I mean, that's with the Common Bloc vote, it's almost on its way, wasn't it?
No, I'm not surprised at all, no.
What's your feeling about this? So the way it's been handled, is this, in a sentence or so? I mean,
I think you've heard me say this before, but I think the government is far more interested in itself than those it's purported to.
Is it anti-business? Let me try that.
Absolutely.
Oh wow! I mean, you're going that far.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, totally anti-business.
Because that just sounds crazy when you hear that coming out of your mouth, almost. Because I was floating it, thinking you wouldn't agree with, but
no, it's anti-business. Oh, absolutely. It is becoming an anti-business, administration. There's no doubt about that at all. If you come back to my earlier point, that DFE promoting itself constantly, a department of government using taxpayers' money to promote how wonderful it is. In reality, it's ignoring the commercial sector, brushing it aside, showing absolutely no interest in the commercial sector at all. And you're surprised that I say to you that they're becoming anti-business. They need to wake up and smell the coffee and look after the organisations that are creating the jobs and creating the funds for government.